Okay guys, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but did we just get a Creddie moment in this week's episode of iCarly? My heart. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today we're recapping the 5th episode of this iCarly revival that is now streaming on Paramount Plus. In case you did not get a chance to see this week's episode, you might want to watch that and then come back because we might dive into a little bit of the story details, but the name of the episode is iRobot Wedding. And if you've forgotten about our cast, it stars Miranda, Cosgrove, Jerry, Trainor, Nathan, Kress, Laci, Mosley, and Jaidyn, Triplett. Now, if you've been keeping up with my recaps and reviews every week since the show debuted, you'll know that episode 4 was one of my favorite, and if you missed that review, it's right at the top of the screen. But before we do get into my review of episode 5, if it is your first time here at the channel, guys, welcome to Real James. We talk about movies and TV like this all the time, so you're not going to want to miss out because yes, we're still recapping iCarly every single week up until episode 13. So go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on that bell so you'll be the first one in the comments. And speaking of the comments, guys, let me know, did you enjoy this week? Was it one of your favorite episodes, and which moment was your favorite? And smash that thumbs up button if you're a big fan of Creddie. Yeah. Alrighty guys, so let's get right into the episode, and this is definitely a blast from the past for fans of the iCarly series all the way back in the early 2000s. Neville Papperman. Well, that happened in the show too, but guys, Neville Papperman is back. It has been a minute since I've even seen this character, and if you were like me and you kind of forgot some of the key details from the series years ago, this episode does a good job at catching you up to speed about why Carly and Neville clash heads. But of course, this isn't just Carly seeking revenge for Neville and how he treated her when they were kids. This is more so about Neville Papperman's wedding. Yeah, he's getting married, and well, it turns out to be not anything like you imagined. This is a robot themed wedding, and right off the bat, y'all, the costume design in this episode was pretty excellent. You had Harper with her awesome dress, Spencer with his Daft Punk inspired clothing, and even Freddie with a whatever that is. But I love the design, the sets here. They were really coming alive in this episode, but what made it really fun was seeing how every character kind of did their own thing at the wedding. So you had Carly trying to sabotage Neville's wedding and proving that Neville's wife-to-be was a robot because, of course, Neville had to marry a human woman according to his grandfather in order to gain the inheritance from his grandfather. So definitely a lot of different storylines going on here, but the show does a good job at kind of pacing itself right along to where the laughs were pretty consistent. Now, what I will say is that this isn't the most laugh out loud episode of the season so far, but considering what we've gotten in episode 2 and episode 4, I would say this is a good follow-up, and man, I still found myself laughing. But most of all, guys, we got some really solid character moments. So like I just mentioned, this episode does a really good job at giving us multiple storylines in one episode, and one of the different plots it focuses on is between Millicent and Freddie. I would say episode 5 is one of Jaidyn Triplett's best in terms of her performance, but what she was able to accomplish with Nathan Kress, who again plays Freddie, was really cool. It was heartfelt, and they dove into Freddie's past. We learned here that Freddie and his ex-wife were only together for 14 months, and that Freddie is a hopeless romantic and also owes a lot of debt and gambling money. That is bad. But honestly, I would just love more moments between Millicent and Freddie because I think there is a very good story that's hidden beneath the surface. And then you had Spencer and Harper giving us some great back and forth dialogue here because they are challenging each other to try and hook up with the most amount of people at this wedding. And you get some pretty solid commentary here, especially when you think of gender norms and gender roles. So this show is definitely pushing the boundary a little bit, and I do appreciate the commentary on different social matters like this. But Laci, Harper, and Jerry Trainor are just so funny together, and I actually really love how the episode ends with, well, Harper pretty much winning. But again, more character moments, right? So we learned that Harper even gave her phone number to Spencer at one point, so are they alluding that maybe they had a little fling? I don't know. And then of course the main story in this episode is between Neville Papperman, who is played by Reed Alexander, and Miranda Cosgrove's Carly. Now Carly Shay, she is petite, but Neville is also a little slick, right? He's got himself a very funny cadence about him, and I think that's Reed Alexander really just doing a good job in picking up where he left off from the series of the past. And to me, some of the funniest moments of this episode was with Carly trying to prove Prunella's a robot. Man, throwing magnets, the battery supply, That was a very fun little segment, but even before that, I think Carly as a character is just great because of her awkward humor, and Miranda Cosgrove's line delivery here is some of the best that I've seen it in the revival, so that's really interesting. At this point in the season, guys, 5 episodes in, I'm starting to feel like this cast and crew are gelling together very well. From the direction to the writing to the acting, I'm starting to see a lot of things come together at such a good time for this season, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, I do expect us to get a very serious episode soon, maybe one that addresses a lot of the current climate here in America or just worldwide. I'm curious to see how they'll play with that, because we're getting less of Carly being a content creator so far and more of her dealing with everyday things in life, with relationships, with her family and friends. It's incredibly interesting to see how mature that this iCarly revival has been through just 5 episodes. And of course, there's one moment at the end of the episode that made my heart pitter patter. Is this episode telling us, y'all, that Creddie lives? Because for a while, of course, they were not in a relationship. It's probably been years and they've just been friends. But I started to see something spark between them when Freddie asks for Carly's hand to go out and, you know, just dance. And they talked and they had a really good heart-to-heart moment. I'm starting to think, guys, that maybe we get Creddie again. So, I mean, shippers, bring out the boats. Let's get going, because I'm starting to ship Freddie and Carly all over again. So overall, you guys, episode 5, iRobot Wedding, was another solid entry into this revival series. Even episode 3, which I didn't care for too much, was still decent enough. But guys, they have hit home runs with every episode so far. Even this, which was a little less humorous. I mean, yes, they were giving us funny content, and I'm not gonna lie, again, I laughed, but it wasn't laugh out loud side-splitting humor like I found in episodes 2 and 4. But you don't need that with every episode. You gotta pace yourselves as a series, right? And this episode did a good job at carrying the momentum and setting up some things, especially in the story, for following episodes. Because again, y'all, if we get Creddie, if we get more talk with Spencer and Harper, are we going to start to see relationships grow within our main cast? That'd be great. The one thing that I hope they don't shy away from, though, is diving into some of the more serious topics in this show, like Freddie's gambling addiction, his debts, the way he probably hasn't reconciled with his ex-wife, and also the relationship between him and Millicent is charming, it's great, and it is heartfelt. So I hope they focus on that a little bit more. But so far, so good with this iCarly revival. Now, I need to hear from y'all. Go ahead and get loud down below in the comments and let me know, did you enjoy this week's episode, or were you a little disappointed? And if you haven't already, hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, because we are so close to 5,000 subscribers, and that's all because of you. I can't wait to keep talking about iCarly, can't wait to keep dropping reviews and reactions, and this week has been so busy, so I need to go ahead, drink some water, and get going on some more reviews. Again, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening.